For the last 20 years, I have been working on a system that will save you a lot of time. For the first 10 years prior to that point, I was working very hard. I was highly motivated. Probably like you, I found in the beginning an experience, a realization of what was possible, how I could be living my life. And then I just went hard on every teacher and every teaching, on every retreat, and hundreds of books, actually, trying to find out because it looked like it. But in the end of the day, after 10 years, I found myself like, it's not really working. I'm missing something important. And then at some point, I realized what the problem was. And I figured out a system to get through that. And it helped me a lot, tremendously. And I started helping other people. And now, hopefully, this will help you too. Well, first thing, if you want to know more about the whole thing, you can go to a community. You're going to find the link below where I'm going to be go more on detail and experientially. We can exchange this community of like-minded people researching from, as I said before, from any kind of meditation. Everyone is welcome here. The point is to make progress. So in this presentation, I'm going to be talking to you about this system that I built that I call it the Lucid Spiral. So what the problem is actually, well, you could invest a lot of energy, but you may have noticed that you switch from time to time from teachings to other teachings. Or you may stay in the same teaching, but it's not really working after a while. It worked a lot in the beginning, but then it just stops. So you need some kind of new, fresh air. So we tend to change and switch between of them. But something is missing. Every time you switch to a different teaching, you're missing a point and you're losing energy. And it feels, imagine there is a mountain and you're starting going up and then you go out and then you go up again a little bit and you go back. And it's like starting many different relationships, but never really going deeper into any of them. And that's the price that in the end you end up paying. And yet you cannot fully commit to one because you're so drawn to explore so many different kinds of meditation and things that are part of your life that you cannot neglect. So in the beginning, a technique works, you follow a little bit, after a while, you get to a flat point and you feel interested in something else and you restart again. But something's missing into that. You're missing a momentum and it may have worked, but if you're like me, that I was there for many years, hopefully what I'm going to be showing you will give you hope. First question is, why do we switch paths in the first place? Because sometimes it's right. Sometimes you're following in a path and after a while, it's not enough for you. There's something in your personality and your experience that needs more than that. And then you start exploring different kind of disciplines. Sometimes it's just right. In that sense, you just move from one to another. The problem here is that, think about every tradition is like a different language. So every time you start again, you have to restart again, new teacher, new core concepts, new things. And you try to all the time to make sense with your experiences and your past. There's a huge amount of research and energy, not wasted, but you can use it a lot better. So that's the first option, that you're moving intuitively right, but at the same time missing the momentum of the other things that you did before that point. Or the other one is that you actually were doing something that was working for you. It was really unveiling the deep patterns that were keeping you, the shadows that were keeping you trapped in an illusion and suffering and negative emotions or any kind of thing that is not being peaceful and enjoying your life every day, no matter what. So you are actually going in the right direction, but probably lacking the right context and support and community and teachings. Normally, the lack for most people to have a direct contact with a teacher or someone who is way more advanced than them, you may miss, even when you may try as hard to read every book and try to intellectually understand every angle, you will still have a problem. So sometimes you switch path, but it is because it was working. So you, again, start again from a new place, hoping it to be sweeter because you don't want to let go of that thing that this other path was showing you. So of course, vicious circle, you're going to end up finding your own face again. So what is this lucid spiral actually solving? First thing, imagine that you can switch between paths freely. You may lean towards more intellectual one, more experiential one, more peaceful one, more love engaging one. And you at the same time, you're not missing anything. You are making all them synchronizing in a way, like a choreography, that you can keep the momentum of all the time, effort, and interest you put in your practice. So as I mentioned before, it also prevents you from falling into these traps and losing energy into growing up. That's what I call it, this spiral, because there's a momentum to it. So there is movement, but it's not like a vicious circle. It's like a spiral. It's going to somewhere. And You have to demand of yourself, of every day, of every practice, of it, that it clearly shows you that you are closer to where you want to be. There has to be. If you're guided properly, you shouldn't have any question. It should be clear as water what you have to be doing, and you feel it every day, and you're successful in every single practice you notice that is working. So this helps you enjoy the freedom of exploring different techniques and paths, but at the same time, not falling into this chaos and losing energy, but at the same time, not having to admit the rigidity of a dogma, of a tradition. Specific, they do things like that, they talk like that, they have these ethical principles, and they have all these kind of things you have to learn before being a beginner even. So the idea in here is to get you to give you the best of that without actually needing to sacrifice. And it could be faster. Why not? We're living in times that everything is accelerating. This is an example of how spirituality can also accelerate for you and achieve in a couple of years what people used to take probably decades. So the core insight is very rare in all the hundreds of people that I found in my life and I talked to. I don't think any of the successful people that I met, they were really pursuing one single path alone all the time. They were always at least mixing it with different things. And that is a problem because most of these cultural traditions come from a long momentum, and they don't allow for such a flexibility. They say, no, this is what I'm teaching you. Don't come in here to tell me to do a different meditation. This is what I'm teaching you. And which is great and it's right in its own place. But especially to me, it felt like something was missing. I had to let go of many other things that I wanted. But the important thing here is that you don't need to get stuck to one. You can go freely, but at the same time, you want to go freely in some sort of structure that supports you, that you're not losing energy. You're always focused on the ultimate goal, which is, what is the goal for you? Just bring it in your mind. You may not even need a word, but I'm going to talk about freedom. I'm going to talk about a moment, a taste you had, a glimpse you had, that it just sort of open your mind and transform your life in just one single moment. And you're probably just going back to that perfume, trying to get it. Sometimes you feel it, but it doesn't really stay and integrate. You have to make that your goal, your target. That is it. What is this system that I'm conveying to you? Well, it is a bit like a map, but a very flexible one. Think about when I do my coaching, I think of myself not as a teacher. A teacher is someone who downloads information in people, and you know what I know. So it's not about that. It's about helping you remove the things in your path that are preventing you from access your own deep wisdom that is in there. So it's not that I have to download anything, and yet it helps a lot if I give you directions. So knowing what you want, what I do with people is I help them to put their minds together, make every second of their life sacred and focus. And that's the way you get all this momentum of energy. So in order to do that, you need some sort of a map. And this is the thing that I'm trying to explain to you in this video. There is a map of many paths that can cross in different directions. So my job is like a GPS. I'm like a Uber, a spiritual Uber, you could call it. You could say, okay, I jump in. I want to go there. And things happen. Roads get closed and you need to move into a different direction. You need to switch techniques. Different things happen in your life. For most of the people that work, something happens in their life and we need to adjust techniques continuously, but never missing the direction. Doing that after a while creates a huge momentum. So this is my effort to make a system so people can use it without me. Of course, I need to be checking it now in the beginning, but hopefully I will give a standalone system that can help people without me being all the time involved. That's how I think I can maximize. I want everybody to know that this is possibilities that we are now ready to accept. So what about is a system like a net of different options that can be used to navigate very complex situations and find always the right meditation for you, at the same time making you feel free and yet focused, like you feel that comfort that you're in a system, something that is, you don't need to work it out. It's already there. Many people before you were enlightened and just left a lot of treadmills to help us. So I think it's not the smartest move to try to think that you're going to make it on your own no matter what. I mean, you can certainly try by any means because the wisdom isn't there. But I haven't met just one single person that have made it fully on their own completely. Maybe, but I haven't met them. So I'm just extending these teachings, hopefully making it saving you a lot of time, as I said before. So this system is actually leaning three different legs. So as many meditations, traditions, techniques, spiritual angles you can find, all of them fall in one of these three. Sometimes they share one or two of these legs, I call them. So one side you have stillness, another one have one that is more like about understanding and insight, and another one that is more based on a special kind of happiness, eudaimonia. It's not it's not the happiness of the world. It's a different kind of happiness, but denying that awareness itself, for example, it is blissful, is ignorance. So let's explain this further. So the first path is all of these teachings that you have heard that they talk a lot about letting go and relaxation and just they help you set, and they're very sweet. This is the sweetest path, actually. Just go easy and rest in peace step by step. At the same time, it's incredibly technical, as many people think, oh, just sitting there and doing nothing and just chilling out seems obvious. Well, it's not obvious if you have honestly tried. There's a lot of ways of mapping out that you succeed on it every day. And every time you see it, you have this opening. You feel that you're really open and you're really awakening. You have to feel that in every time. But in order to do that, as I said before, all these traditions are taking this path of just letting go. It's not like something that is adding anything to you. It's like a negative path in a sense, not in an emotional sense, on the contrary. But it feels like you're just removing things from yourself. You're not really adding anything new. And all these paths tend to land in a non-conceptual layer, like mental stillness, like a peace, like a silence that is not from this world and is continuous. The second path is the path of insight. And this is very popular nowadays because it seems to be the hack, as if it was the quickest one. So we have been developing all this rational science part of our brain and this way of going about life that we can understand the whole universe with our brain, something like that, which is useful for certain things, but of course it's delusional. Nevertheless, there's this whole range of teachings that goes from Vipassana, inquiry, non-duality, Advaita Vedanta, and everything that is about discerning between real and unreal. So these teachings are very popular. I'm pretty sure you know and you have come across some of these teachings. But here's the point. You have two main versions in here. One that is more like dialectical, that you will hear them like, it seems to be an intellectual question. Who are you? Who's the one who is seeking? And so on. But there's another one that is more like the Vipassana path, which is more experiential. It's like the science of living here and now. But it has a very dynamic aspect to it, but it's incredibly confusing if you don't understand what you're doing. That's what is normally practiced in a very specific environment. But the problem, for example, between this path and the previous one, that you had the previous one, they need each other, actually. So if your mind is calm enough, then when you work on the insides of the understanding, it will stick and it will long. But if you have a restless mind and you try as hard as you want to absorb every non-dual teaching or every ultimate reality teaching or quantum physics, will still not make any sense in your life. Emotionally, you will still broken. You notice there's something real for there, but in the personal level, you feel broken still. You feel depressed still. You feel anxious still. So that's where, for example, the first path is normally a solution for when you push too hard on this one. And there's a third path, probably the most second one. Exciting because this has been confused tremendously. It looks like someone wants money from you. Oh yeah, come here for a week and I will make you feel good. It sounds like too good to be true. But this has just gave a very bad image to these paths. And these paths carry a very important truth that complements the two previous paths that I was mentioned before. And it is that awareness is not something neutral. It's not something just in space where you don't react to anything and that's it, it's emptiness. It is nothing. That's indifference. Actually, the realization of that non-dual awareness is blissful on itself. So there's this whole range of paths that rely more on that aspect. And here you have from energetic breath work, devotional work, imagery, many kind of apparently active or ways to relate to the world, relationships, work many aspects. And here you will also have compassion and all these aspects of the paths where you're actually dealing with the world. It's not like the other two that we're more like, oh, I'm thinking, oh, the world is not real. So it feels you're detaching from it in a negative way, or peaceful, like trying to get out of the world. And here, you're actually melting with it. You're realizing non-duality in relationship. This is a very important aspect, and it's amazing. It is sweet as it can be. The first one was very peaceful. The second one is clear, and this one is devotional in the sense of, think about this love your heart is missing. This sense of you love your life. It's not that you don't have any pain. It's not that you don't care, but it's that you actually are in love with the tree when you go out of your house, and everything seems to be very mysterious and exciting in a loving way. So these paths have all these aspects that are very difficult to get, because most of these traditions, for example, the Tantra tradition, they are embedded in so much rituals and cultural bias that it makes it very difficult for people to access. So I'm very thrilled actually to help people who were in the other paths to understand, no, yeah, it's okay to feel good. And you act, that's a good sign. So this is the third path. So every known authentic tradition belongs in one of these three paths. That's a very important point. You can tell me, you can ask me, what is this path about? Many times they have like two legs. For example, Buddhism have all of them, actually. You have the stillness, you also have this dynamic knowing. At the same time, you have the integration of metta, or loving kindness and things like that. So many paths have all of them, but if you have been long enough, you have noticed that they are not so well integrated and balanced, especially if you're inside of the Buddhist universe. Then suddenly it feels very difficult, for example, to leap back on the other side to non-duality in Advaita Vedanta. They always treat them like a completely different thing. And obviously it's not a different thing. It's exactly the same thing. So that's my job in here, to help you bridge all these paths and realizing that it is okay to go from one taste to another taste, as if you want to one day to eat Chinese, another day to eat whatever you want. Everything is okay as far is for the right purpose, and then everything works. So that's my job, to help you integrate all these paths so you consistently feel every day that you're closer to your truth. Freedom without losing direction. I couldn't emphasize this point anymore, meaning that I see people who are devoted to one single path, and that's creating them some sort of blindness. Like they would, again, I'm going to say Buddhism because it's very popular nowadays. You get into that and you're just in this kind of teaching all the time. And then you have this other profile of person who is just freestyling all around. And as much as both are right in their way, I just want to help people. So I have to be honest and say, yeah, well, that's not going to be enough. You need a bit more. If you're on the freestyle side, you need a bit more structure. If you're in the hardcore following the path level, you need to be a little bit more spontaneous and contact with your emotions a bit deeper. So why the system work? As I explained before, I put a lot of time and work and effort on this. The first 10 years were just to realize what the problem was. And after that, I was lucky enough to find the right teachers because I knew what I was looking for. So I keep on developing and really finding the whole thing for myself. And then I start teaching to other people because it's a natural thing. And I've been doing that. I had groups for 12 years, actually, where I was just inviting everyone. And I have seen like actually thousands of people. And I talk to them and I meditate week after week. And I got to understand what the problem is for many people to approach this meditation. So this is my system. This is the answer. So hopefully it will solve a lot of problems for all these people that I found lost. That they really had an honest intention to meditate, but they just didn't have the tools or the understanding, plus living in this world that is overstimulated with so many different things and new paths and ways of getting lost. So I checked with my teachers and they're supporting me completely. I'm not going to name dropping, but at this moment I'm supported with, I think is the greatest eminence in the world for synthesis of paths. And honorably, complexity versus simplicity, they don't have to be exclusive. You can be complex and you can be simple at the same time. That's something, this fractal nature of reality, and especially the spiritual path, is something that I'm looking forward to share with you so you can navigate all your own personal complexities, and yet at the same time with the simplicity of knowing who you are and what you're doing at any given moment. And no matter what, you're always feeling that it's working. Everything you do is working, and you feel like a kid in a toy shop. You can't just go anywhere and do anything. Everything is okay. That's how your spiritual system should look at. On the other side, you should also have a direction. Otherwise, we all know, like a kid in a candy store. Yeah, well, probably will overdo. So in the same way, I mean, yeah, you can feel free to do whatever as you are free, as you're an adult and you're responsible and you're mature, and you can just do what you need and then just go to another thing, but always in the right place and always better, always better, always better. So is it good and is it okay to just go around and get stuck in here and switch from this thing to the other thing, to jump, make big jumps and then make big jumps downwards? Everything works. Everything is part of the thing. It's just teaching you little by little more how to stay all the time focused. And at some point, when you are able to integrate all your actions, all your thoughts, all your intentions in your day towards the ultimate goal you have, that's the moment where your life starts moving in a completely different dimension. So one path to include many different ways of doing it. So you're free to do anything you want. You're free. Follow your intuition, freestyle, follow your excitement, as someone said. While always investing every minute you invest in meditation or in any kind of action or inaction to tap into your own natural enlightenment, you need to understand there's a structure for it. The fact that it's simple doesn't mean that it's random. Doesn't mean that, let's put it this way, if you knew already, you will be there. If you're not there, then you may reconsider learning from other people. This is just obviously an advice, but it worked very well for me. I'm still here like crazy, discovering things and learning from people and finding people who can add more to me. This is not a competition. This is not this blind devotion thing. No, this is just like sharing. This is honest human sharing and improving each other's life. So a solid inner growth, expanding peace, lasting joy, true liberation. I like that. Here's a little diagram of what these paths are. Some of these paths share different aspects at the same time, but more or less, you're going to realize that certain paths have certain flavor. Certain teachers have certain. So here, I just wanted to throw a little bit of more of a deeper information of what it is all about. But yeah, of course, as I explained before, you can find more information later. So 3 paths: stillness, rest, deeper, be at peace all the time. Go beyond night and day and beyond your deep sleep. Go to a place where, well, I cannot find the words. Side is integrating your mind. You don't need to let your mind go or get rid of your mind. Just certainly sometimes you want to rest your mind, but that doesn't mean, of course, you're going to need your mind and you're going to use it. You better have it in a way that is harmonic, in a way that it is pointing all the time towards the sun, towards the truth and the great bliss, because you cannot miss this part. Come on. You cannot be depressed and enlightened. You cannot feel lonely and saying that you're awakened. Well, it depends on the definition of enlightenment or awakening. So, okay, some space in there of definitions. But what I'm saying is like, there is this honest, it's not about judging you. It's not about comparing you. It's about you knowing if you reach the highest level of freedom, joy you can reach. Because if you haven't, good news. There's a lot of stuff for you to learn and improve. As I mentioned before, I invite you, if you want to know more about this, to ask me questions. Just join this group that's called Lucid Mind Collective. I just put it all in a platform that's called School, SKOOL. And in there, if you type Lucid Mind Collective, as you see in Google, if you type Lucid Mind Collective in School, should come the first one. Anyway, just there, or just follow the link below this video, or just try to reach me directly and accept this invitation in person. I will send you the link. And thanks so much for watching this. And I hope this brings to your life a refreshed new angle that can add to the momentum that you already have. And instead of distracting all your previous teachings, reuse them and integrate them. So it comes more your uniqueness and your real enlightenment. Thank you.